Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Funk, thinking right out here in the lab where I do what I do for you. Well, I got something nice for you today. If you're about becoming enlightened, this is your lesson. Get ready. Right as the 25 rules to live by, storytelling, story with a message. The message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in and receive them. I appreciate you. You got a good thing going. Let's ride. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinkers' way of life through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to attain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself, or as the new mantra, who, who, who. That means I know thyself. Okay. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish, disregarding it. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You can teach them. That's what I do for you, so you can become a who. A person who knows not and believe that they know will never become haru. Dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I'm to wake them up. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers know that self. To my app, be true. I've been on this guide kick and spiritual kick, and I'm gonna stay on that kick because I'm trying to get you to understand you can know God for yourself. And the concept is right thinkers. Let's talk about the goal of spiritual enlightenment is to what? Know thyself. They go hand in hand. That's the concept I'm trying to get you to understand. So let's go with this one. I'm gonna take it nice and slow. Got it. Hopefully, yeah, got it. Excuse me. I'm gonna do it nice and slow, try to break it down as I go. So maybe the understanding can be a little more clearer. We all know that worldly knowledge is low level knowledge below the waist. The first 3 degrees, the first 3 chakras. That's what I got you. Everything below the waist is beastly. That's what they call it, the beastly nature. The Sphinx is a lion of a beast, but the head of is a female's head. Okay? Why? Because there's in Virgo. Lion. You got the constellation right now. We're going from Leo to Virgo. Back when he was in that sign of Leo, heading to Virgo on the cusp, they call it. That's what there was tricks in between. But the message was come from the beastly nature, rise up to become the queen or the goddess that you really was born to be, aka know thyself. That was the first concept of it. Now, as right thinkers, we are called aspirants. So an aspirant, a spiritual aspirant, which is my right thinkers, needs to do what? Become self-sufficient. When you taking care of self, right think philosophy is all about self-improvement. So self is the main focus here. Trust me. Well, I don't want to be selfish. No, no. You need to be selfish. Why? Because everything you do for self is going to benefit the self, good or bad. You do good things for self, you get good results. You do bad things to self, you can get bad results. Understand that. Real clear. So understand the right thing is you have to become self-sufficient, meaning being on your own and become capable of what? Controlling your daily life. They said practical, I say daily. Every day you got to go through the rigors of doing. But if you haphazardly just going through willy-nilly every day and you don't know what you're doing, that's not a good way to go through life. If you ain't planning, you planning to fail. So in life, it's the same thing. Day to day, you got to plan for tomorrow. It ain't guaranteed, but at least you plan. If it happens, it won't surprise you. That means, watch this, that means you should seek to what? Learn. That's what you have teachers for, sages and gurus. Learn self knowledge, aka again practical knowledge, which will what help you to survive. Again, The lower nature, you can survive living off of that. You won't prosper, you won't raise your conscious level, but you will survive. That's beastly nature. All animals do is survive. Instinctively living, that's what that is. But in the practical world, that's how you survive day to day, just going through the motion. But by doing what you need to is always remember that worldly knowledge is always lower knowledge. So if you want self-knowledge, you have to raise from your worldly knowledge to spiritual knowledge because we are spiritual beings having the human experience. Understand that. Now, it's natural to be spiritual. It ain't natural to be religious, let's say. It's just used to watch this. Practical knowledge and lower level knowledge is used to sustain the practical reality, aka the matrix. The simulation that we in, the hamster wheel that everybody's on, the simulation that we all live in until we lift the veil of ignorance and become enlightened spiritually. That's my goal as a spiritual philosophical teacher. I want you to become enlightened with what? Knowledge of self. I'm giving you all the tools you need for that to happen. All you got to do is implement them. Watch this. Now, in regular life, we live in the matrix. What happens there? Right thinkers, we are called aspirants. An aspirant is somebody who's aspiring for something more. They know it's something more, hence aspirant. When I use the word. Now, aspiration, when the aspirant is the what? Awakening of the spiritual self. Here we go. You aspiring to know your higher self, your spiritual self, your beastly self. You know that already. So that means becoming conscious, raising your level of knowledge of self to what? Becoming conscious of God, aka the divine presence within oneself. You have to know you and God are one. Everything comes from the one. So everything is on the one. Always come back to one. Understand that. And watch this. You and the divine presence within you, yourself, is one, and the universe by having, listen, faith and belief that there is a spiritual essence, aka beyond the ordinary human understanding we call God. You don't have to believe that. As a right thinker, you can exercise your right to find out for yourself on what? Living the spiritual truths and watching what happened by the blessing that you receive for doing that. That's how you can find out for yourself. And watch this. It gives you what? The desire to engage in spiritual studies, following somebody, spiritual advisor, teacher, or sage, or guru for what? Self-discovery and knowing thyself. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to get you to do. Discover yourself, know thyself, whatever you want to call it, but it's things you have to do to make that happen. I'm just trying to give you the instruction for that. That's it. Now, watch this. When you discover yourself, how you being a right thinker, again, an aspirant, what does that mean? It means you're seeking after spiritual truths. How? Through the various disciplines we know as what? Yoga, or I teach semi-Taoist, Shita Netta, right thinking philosophy. It's all philosophical concepts to help you get to know God. Religion's job is supposed to do that also. Wait a minute. Study spiritual truths, applying the wisdom teachings of that spiritual truth will make you a master right thinker. You ask the question, how? This is how I'm trying to get you there. That's my goal. I got one. I want more. I want more. Now, if you study right thinking philosophy and you apply my wisdom teachings daily, the teachings in your practice in daily life, excuse me. Now, being a right thinker means you see beyond the opposites and the understanding of the underlying essence of creation. We start with the creation story, the cosmology of creation. Remember, let there be. We had light, then we had air, then we had moist air, then we had fermentation of earth, and then we had the heavens. Those are the 5 elements that we talk about as far as creation. After that, we start with spirit of man, number 6 on the scale of Saw. not Adam. I'm just saying. So when you understand creation, everybody got a story. Some good and some other, but everybody have a story. Now, right thinkers inquire into what? Knowing who am I? There is no more powerful question which a right thinker or a spiritual aspirant can ask. Why? Because that's the end all be all to who we are, knowing who we are. So if you question that, somebody should be able to answer that. I got the answer for you. Okay. Now, who am I? Everything in your life relies and depends on what? The ego self, the I, the me, the id that they tell you. Okay. Psychologically, they tell you the id is the ego. Yes, it is. We told you that ancient times. So again, you identify with that. You can't kill your ego. Can't happen. You gotta live with it. You have to control it. That's emotional control, self-control, all those good things. Because if the ego had its way, it would run through all those things. Watch this. Now, once you control your ego self, it becomes what? Clearer and clearer that what? Your ego is not the real you. hmm But if you don't get past that and the ego just running them up, you'll never get that concept. You'll never understand there's something else. Most people think this is it. So I'm going to have my fun and do what I got to do. When it's over, it's over. That's real ignorant thinking. Okay. Some of us don't get enlightened. I understand it. Again, living proof. Watch this. You know that the ego is not the real you once you become enlightened to you. Why? Because everything that your ego wants is selfish, illusory, and below the waist. Satisfaction, greed, sex, all those things, money. That's lower level. That's what everybody knows. That's what people do. To get better means you're gonna raise your consciousness. And what happens? How you do that? That's why the daily practice. Watch this. A right thinking philosophy, aka spiritual disciplines, allows you, the spiritual aspirant, to what? Gradually free yourself from the grips and the snares of your ego, ignorant self. Never happened. I'm changing that right now. Then, now. Ego self, knowing thyself. Simply look the same. We pretty much what difference on the inside. Like my man said, I may be the same old killer underneath, but on top, I am the new Haru. Let's go. Let's wrap this up. Again, I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you enjoy this one. I'm having fun with this concept. Hope it's getting across to you. Where we at? Okay, here you go. Now, being the right thinker is being single-minded with what? Great determination. Great determination to what? Know thyself, aka your higher spiritual truths. As a spiritual aspirant, you're not satisfied with this intellectual knowledge. But you want self-knowledge, which is the best knowledge because that tells you what? Who am I? I am who I know, think, and believe I am. After studying and learning and living, I have become master of myself. So I am who I think I am. Papa, I am that I am. You get that spinach, look out. All right, that was his knowledge. Okay, watch this. Okay, or the natural. You don't just want knowledge of self and who you are, or the nature of the divine. You must have what? Overwhelming desire toward the ultimate goal of life, and that is to experience God for yourself, aka knowing thyself. That's what makes it happen. And when you reach that level in life where you feel like you've gotten there, when you become Haru, only you know that. I, the teacher, don't tell you when you become Haru. You tell me. Now, he has shown me he Haru. So it's funny. Now, you have to have what? Communion with your divine self. That means praying and meditation. I had a discussion yesterday. I'm trying to teach a student. Praying is asking God. You're doing the talking. You're the instigator of the conversation. Meditating, you're the listener, and God is the instigator. But how, again, right there, when you don't know something, and somebody give you something you don't know, you should try to listen, try to think about it, understand it, comprehend it, and then come back with the question. Don't just jump to, wow, I can't do it. That's why most people fail. Meditation is letting go of everything and letting God. And so I can tell you. Now, when you're the right thinker, you must seek communion with your higher self. That's part of the course you have to follow, the process. Why? Because if you're not communicating with God from a level of receiving, the pineal glands calcified, probably not open. So you're getting nothing. Dead air. Okay, nothing. But when that third eye is open, you know thyself. You take your right thinking philosophy, employ it, and start figuring out certain things. Oh, it makes a lot of sense then. Your spiritual eye opens, and now you see things spiritually. Come on, man. All right, here you go. The divine self, in order, excuse me, commune with your divine self in order to what? To attain spiritual enlightenment. That's part of the course. If you're not in meditative state and you're just praying, you're not going to get enlightened. Why? Because you're just talking. You're not getting no reception. It's a one-way conversation. And for all those who are not spiritually enlightened, all those who are not virtuous, righteously living, you doing just that. Getting air. Why? Because you ain't putting nothing in. You can't get nothing out. You can accomplish, watch this, you can accomplish this by what? Daily practice of your spiritual disciplines that I outline in my right thinking philosophical lessons daily that will what? Lead you, the right thinking aspirant, to what? That transcendental state of consciousness, aka becoming conscious, becoming God conscious because you know God for yourself through your mystical experience of the work that you put in and the rewards that you receive. That, watch this, that will allow you to go what? Beyond the ego self, and you converse intimately. Your relationship with God should be intimate. Why? It's you and him. There's nobody else involved. When you want to get with a person, male or female, y'all want to get intimate, you're going to have sex intercourse. Have an intimate relationship, not physically, but spiritually and mentally within yourself. That's the heart mind coherence concept, the intimacy between you and your higher self. Okay? Wrap this up. Glad you tuned in. Appreciate you. When you can converse intimately with God in your meditative state. That's where you're coming from. This is what? The ultimate goal, which leads a person to become one with God, aka, you know how I feel about that. Know thyself, or Haru, Haru, Haru. I appreciate you. Hope you got the lesson, and I need more Haru. Stay tuned. I got you.